My name is Barbara Lowe Fisher. My son was injured by DPT vaccine in 1980, and this is a reference commentary brought to you by the nonprofit National Vaccine Information Center that can be read on nvic.org. Every mother has had the nightmare. We dream our child, who we love more than we thought we could love anyone, has been taken away by strangers and cannot be found. The cold fear rises up from our stomach into our throats as we search endlessly to find the child we would give up our own life to protect from harm. The biological imperative for parents to protect their young is stronger than the law of any nation. It is stronger than any value or belief. It is primitive and hardwired into a mother's DNA because it is the fierce protective instinct that enables intelligent life on Earth to survive. The debate about vaccination in the 21st century is not just about the science and whether vaccines and vaccine policies are a safe and effective way to keep individuals and populations truly healthy. It is also part of an historic power struggle between parents and doctors about whether doctors or anyone else in society should have the legal right to give children a pharmaceutical product or medical treatment that carries a risk of injury or death without the parents' voluntary informed consent. Today, there is a bill on the desk of California Governor Jerry Brown, Assembly Bill 499, that has been quietly and quickly rammed through the state legislature by the medical pharma lobby. If Governor Brown signs that bill into law, then children as young as 12 years old will be vaccinated with Gardasil, hepatitis B, and future vaccines for sexually transmitted diseases without the knowledge or consent of their parents. This proposed law would cost the cash-strapped state of California multi-millions of dollars to implement. Most of that money will go to Merck and other vaccine corporations to pay for multiple doses of each vaccine that will be aggressively promoted to young children who are not yet physically, mentally, or emotionally mature enough to make fully informed decisions about risk-taking, including whether or not to take a medical risk. This proposed law, gutting parental informed consent rights, is great news for drug companies like Merck, which sells Gardasil to the government for $108 per dose. But it is very bad news for parents.
This Philadelphia mother says she didn't hesitate when she found out her son needed a kidney.
Any parent in the world would do that for their son. If they said your son needs your heart, you will give it to them in a second. I would say rip it out. I don't care. Do it.
But Claudia Rendon told Fox Philadelphia she lost her job over that decision. Rendon says she used her vacation time to care for her terminally ill mother, and then she needed to take an 8-week leave after donating her kidney to her son. When Rendon tried to go back to work, she was told a replacement had been hired. A day after the story went viral, Rendon's boss changed their decision.
We had the change of heart. We had time to reconsider. It was simply a mistake.
The company now says Rendon will be paid her normal salary until another position opens with the company. At that time, she can reapply.
Which is not the same thing as giving her her job back.
No, it's according to our policy and procedure.
Rendon told Fox Philly she was told before taking the absence that she might not have a job to come back to. She even signed a paper acknowledging that fact. It's unclear if Rendon will return to the aircraft repair training company. She tells Fox 29 she's skeptical about the offer and she's retained a lawyer. Orla Reese, The Associated.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Wednesday, September 14th, 2011, and I'm Darko. This is part 3, the final part for today. My website is ggnonline.com. That's www.ggnonline.com. And also, I have a YouTube channel. It's ddarko2012. That's ddarko2012. All the headlines and links for each article that I cover will be in YouTube's video description in the order that they're covered. I know many of you, or most of you, have heard me say this so many times, and it does get redundant. That's why I say it the way I say it. But it's for new listeners, which I do get new listeners all the time. So thank you for checking out GGN. Okay, so you just saw some stuff on some vaccinations and parents and, just really hard stuff to digest, and I have some very interesting articles to get to, especially towards the end, so stick with me. It says here, GSDF holds emergency evacuation drill near stricken Fukushima nuclear plant, ground self-defense force, and residents of the zone between 20 and 30 kilometers from the stricken Fukushima nuclear plant held an emergency evacuation drill on September 12th. So it says here, it prepares for any further large-scale emission of radioactive materials from the plant, was the first involving local residents. So it says it held a similar drill without civilian participation in July. And a scenario for the drill presupposed further meltdown of Fukushima's number 3 plant reactor core. So they're thinking that this thing is going to go. And then I found this article. Japan Trade Minister Hachiro quits over nuclear gaffe. Says Japan's new trade minister has quit after calling the area around the tsunami-hit Fukushima nuclear plant a town of death. Mr. Hachiro is also reported to have rubbed his jacket against a reporter, saying, quote, "I will give you radiation after visiting the plant on Thursday." And this individual also went on to say, quote, "Sad to say, the centers of cities, towns, and villages around it are a town of death without a soul in sight." It was a news conference from Thursday. U.S. blames BP for Gulf spill. Well, yeah, I mean, they knew about a bad, a seal or something like that, and they went ahead and pushed forward. And yeah, they and one of their head, now I don't know if they call them foremen or engineers. I think it was a head engineer, kind of like a foreman on this BP oil well, actually told the higher ups about it, the discrepancy and malfunctioning of that seal. And they just said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he ended up having to jump after being basically almost set on fire and jump in almost, I don't know how many yards it was down, at least I would imagine 100 to 200 yards down into the ocean, into a pile of oil. So that's what they did for him. And so we move on here. Chevron confirms Gulf of Mexico oil leak. A leak from a shallow water crude oil pipeline in the Main Pass area of Gulf of Mexico has led Chevron to shut down its offshore Louisiana Main Pass pipeline network, the company said on Tuesday. And I covered about a week or 2 weeks ago about a leak back in a leak in the Gulf again. So I don't know if that's the same situation, the same event. But that's how it usually works. It's usually going on for a little while, and then eventually it hits the mainstream media. It says here, a giant balloon to be launched to test climate fix hope. So a huge, here we go, weather, geoengineering and weather modification, guys. This is so stupid because they're constantly spraying. It's not really, I don't know what it is. It's not just cloud seeding for rain. I mean, there's something more nefarious going on there because that stuff is just... I don't know, just the metals in it and the intermixing with the electromagnetic frequencies that are being pulsed at us, and I'll get to that article here soon. It's just not good. I don't know. I know that they're creating a shield for radar and for enemies radar and that to jam radar and jam communications and satellites. So it has a defense thing, but I know that nationalism's dead. So I know that, it's not us versus them. We're all slaves and we're all not free. And there is one government. It's a shadow government, and we'll never actually meet the people that are in charge of it. So the people that you will meet, like the Soroses and the Brzezinskis and all those guys are just the talking heads. They're middle management. So if that gives you an idea. So it says here that they talking about attaching a length of a hose pipe is to be launched next month to help investigate the feasibility of climate engineering as if it's not already happening. You like that, guys? To mimic short-term cooling effects of volcanic eruption. And of course, they're going to see what the potential effects will be on the Earth's climate and totally disregard the human beings that are actually down here breathing this shit in that they're already spraying. So, and this is the crazy thing, guys. Here it comes again, the same bullshit hypothesis, which is what? This was because the aerosols from the volcano reflected back the sun's radiation and heat before it reached the atmosphere, keeping the planet cooler. Bullshit. They're spraying constantly the aluminum and barium particles, they're oxides or metals, and along with other things like nanoparticles, which give people Morgellons disease, so they don't give a shit about the human effect of it, the side effects. But this is the crazy thing, is a lot of times when they spray and then they heat up the ionosphere, with shooting radio frequencies like heart type technology that actually heats the atmosphere and thus heats the ground temperature that we feel here. That's why it's hot. That's why we're hearing this propaganda about longer summers and shorter winters and worse allergies. It's because of what they're doing. It's not theoretical. So people that believe this article is just theoretical and chemtrails don't exist, you need to pull your head out of your asses and get pissed off about it, because I don't consent to this. You don't consent to this. Well, many of my listeners don't consent to it. So, and right now, like the droughts that are going on in Texas, and the wildfires, it's all because of what they're doing to the weather. And they're doing that so that they can have you fund publicly what they're doing right now. That's being funded partially privately. But it is being carried out by national laboratories that do give subsidies with your taxpayer money to it. The Department of Energy and various universities are all working together on this. It says here, Wi-Fi refugees. This is the biggest news that I have, guys. Shelter in West Virginia mountains. It says here that there are 5 billion mobile phone subscriptions worldwide, and advances in wireless technology make it increasingly difficult to escape the influence of mobile devices. But while most Americans seem to embrace continuous connectivity, some believe it's making them physically ill. So you can go in there and check this out. It says that she lives in a shield cage to protect her from the electromagnetic radiation caused by waves and wireless communication. It says it's a horrible thing to be a prisoner. And she goes in there and says that my face turns red, I get a headache, my vision changes, and it hurts to think. So it's talking about getting angina or chest pains. So, and I think I have my own personal experience with this, with getting shooting pains down below in private sections, and it's not fun. And I can't get any help from doctors, and I think it's coming from that stuff. So anti-GM food protesters claim crops are unsafe in China. Another Tennessee town decides to pull the poison water fluoridation to end on November 10th, so a second one now. It says here gutter. So now you have 2 places to go if you want to get away from the ELS and the fluoride. But it says here gutter oil sold to China's restaurants and supermarkets. Do you fancy a jelly baby made from human DNA? And it says here that human-derived gelatin, it has its health benefits, says the experts. Human gelatin can be used as an ingredient in future treats. As a follow-up, Japanese make delicious, nourishing steaks from human feces or poop, and this is from June 22nd, older article. Sweet problem. Princeton researchers find that high-fructose corn syrup prompts considerable more weight gain. So, and it's also been reported to be causing diabetes. Every other American will be obese by 2030, says a Lancet study. Then diabetes kills 1 person every 7 seconds. Health officials say yeast extract is hidden source of MSG in your food. Here's where it's found. And just for time's sake, I got to keep moving, but I'll post this link up here. These are all the list of other names that MSG can be. Pretty interesting. Hydrolyzed protein, autolyzed, if you hear stuff like that, autolyzed yeast, texturized protein, soy protein, disodium guanylate, and glutamate. So check those out. I got to keep moving here. It says here, study finds fatherhood lowers testosterone levels. So like that's what I'm talking about when I say the balance, a natural balance of male and female energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all these guys that are single, and they're just way too much testosterone. China's answer to high divorce rates, love letters sent with a 7-year delay. So here we go, talking about divorce and single mothers. Some people call them the witches or whores of ISIS. Walmart, I'm not saying that if you're single you are. I'm just saying that here, Walmart plans a multi-billion-dollar women's initiative after high court. So all these single mothers, get over to Walmart. They have a job for you. Raw milk, unpasteurized, may prevent asthma and allergies. Pfizer said to delay sales of baby formula. God, that sounds real nice. Over 1 million homes destroyed by Pakistani floods. At least 226 deaths. Again, maybe they'll come up with the vaccines afterwards. 5,000 suspected dengue fever cases reported in Pakistan. So more eugenics. Dangerous TB, tuberculosis spreading at alarming rate in Europe. So more eugenics. Should the HPV vaccine be mandatory? Health experts weigh in. 3 girls dead, others hospitalized after Gardasil HPV vaccine. Rick Perry, an HPV vaccine maker, have deep financial ties. These poor Amish. Amish men jailed for buggy safety violations after they refused to display an orange reflective triangle on their horse-drawn buggies have been ordered to jail for not paying court-imposed. Vampire woman bites face of elderly man. They both look like vampires, but she didn't remember anything about it. This is programming, guys. Programming. Film producers cashing in on Pippa crates. Programming icon. Programming. More children in China are slain, this time by an axe and not a knife. And mother goes Grand Theft Auto style. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.